California may become a red state because of failed coronavirus leadership, Navarro tells Hannity. Ha ha ha, I laugh. I laugh at the silly idea of California becoming a red state. It's not like Republicans just got a 21 point swing in their favor in a previously blue district. Oh, they did. Okay, well, still, Republicans won California's 25th district, but it was Republican before Katie Hill won. She had a 9-point advantage, and then it flipped 21 points to the Republicans, but this is an anomaly. It's not like in the UK, they had some of the most profound victories for the Conservative Party in 100 years. They did. All right. I'll drop the bit. California may become a red state. I almost don't want to believe it, okay? I mean, I really don't want to believe it. But I'll tell you what. We saw in the UK something crazy. The Conservative Party, I don't want to get too much into UK politics because they use different words. So I'll just say the Conservative Party had a victory so profound that certain areas that had not voted Conservative in like 100 years flipped and people were shocked. I mean, the left got crushed. Crushed is an understatement. So I wonder what's going to happen when you get people like Elon Musk saying, I don't want to be in California anymore. And he's actually announced apparently some cities who are contenders for where he might end up going. Look at this, Austin or Tulsa. You then get people like Joe Rogan saying, if they keep this lockdown going on much longer, I'm gonna go to Texas. And then you bring these, people like Joe, who's pretty much lefty, to Texas, and you see Texas turn a little blue. But anyway, the point is, maybe a combination of people who are moderate, who vote Democrat, flipping Republican because of the lockdown orders, as well as an exodus of wealthier liberal elites, California might actually turn red. Now, I don't think so. That's a tall order. The possibility exists. Let's read and see why Peter Navarro thinks so from Fox News. California, the nation's most populous state, is making a mistake by not following the lead of other states like Georgia and Florida that are working to reopen their economies from coronavirus shutdowns, Peter Navarro said Thursday night. The White House trade advisor shared his views during an appearance on Fox News' Hannity. Host Sean Hannity noted that both Georgia and Florida have seen drops in new cases of coronavirus in recent weeks and have been looking to get businesses operating again, in contrast to California. Quote, now they're talking about never opening Los Angeles until there's a cure? Well, if they want to do that, I guess then they're going to have to bear the brunt of the cost of that. But can't we learn from the states that did well than from the states that flopped and fell on their faces? Navarro, 70, a native of Massachusetts who lives in California, agreed with Hannity's view. California is my home state. I think it's going to become a red state with that kind of leadership. The reality is that if we don't open this economy back up, we're not going to have an economy. You're going to see poor people looking at the Democratic leadership and questioning it. But I think there's a more realistic possibility. You see, people who are Democrats. They don't want to change. They won't flip. They'll vote for a different Democrat. It'll come if they even know about the primary. If it comes to a primary for Newsom or somebody and you've got Democrat versus Democrat, then they see an alternative. They're just going to stay in the blue lane. If it comes to a general and people don't pay attention, then they might just say, you got to vote Republican. What we saw in New York was actually really devastating for Democrats and for Andrew Cuomo. The rich people had fled, basically. The New York Times reports that a large portion of the wealthy people in New York City are gone. I think around 40% was the report. That's an absurd amount of tax revenue that they're not going to have. But more importantly, it's a census year. So if these people haven't already filled that out, they may as well not live there anymore. Now, many of them may come back. We'll see what happens. But this could dramatically change the makeup of various states, jurisdictions, congressional seats. Think about this. Everybody is temporarily displaced right now in a census year. What happens when they all move around? Then we get a totally different picture of what the census is going to look like. This is going to alter and confuse and break polling and politics for a very, very long time. Let's read some more. They say California has seen protests in communities such as Huntington Beach, where demonstrators have sought rollbacks of restrictions on businesses and on use of public beaches, many in effect for nearly 2 months. On Tuesday night, U.S. Navy veteran Mike Garcia, a Republican, won a U.S. House seat in Southern California that was previously held by a Democrat. In another sign of frustration with Democratic Governor Newsom's orders, as well as local rules, Elon Musk, CEO of Tesla, recently said he planned to move jobs out of the state. And here's the other reality that the medical doctors haven't been telling you, Navarro continued. Yeah, the China virus kills directly, but what if we keep our economy shut down? We're not only going to lose trillions of dollars in wealth and economic activity, that China virus shock to the economy kills as well. Suicides, drug abuse, depression. And guess what? All those people who couldn't go to the hospital during this lockdown to get procedures for their heart, the kidneys, and all of that, that kills too. It's time to get back to work, Navarro concluded. We know a lot more than we did when this first hit us. When it came in like a lightning bolt from China because they hid the virus from us. We can do this, Navarro said, about getting the U.S. recovery underway. Don't forget one thing. This is the jobs president, Sean. And this is where we're going to get to the other side of this, he added, referring to President Trump. Innovation, manufacturing, right here in the good old US of A. That's our mission. He's got a point. This is a point I've brought up several times, and many other people are starting to bring it up now. The economy is in serious trouble. We can't remain locked down forever. Some courts have overruled the lockdown orders. Things are starting to open back up in many places. I can even see it in YouTube metrics and podcast metrics. This is good news. We got to be careful about the coronavirus. It is novel. People will get infected. They can get sick. So you got to take social distancing seriously. One thing I really don't get are these conservative pundits mocking people for wearing masks like masks stop you from getting other people sick. It minimizes when you breathe, the droplets from your breath aren't going out. That's the point of wearing the mask, not to protect yourself. This is one thing that's like confusing a lot of people. Early on, they said don't get masks because people were buying masks thinking it would protect them, particularly N95s. It can if properly worn and used with other protective equipment. They said don't buy these. Later on, they started saying now wear masks. Yes, they were saying now wear masks so you don't, get other people sick. Anyway, I digress. The story from the New York Times, California's warning signs for Democrats. The party needs to figure out how to adapt to post-coronavirus politics to hold on to the seats that it flipped in 2018. The warning is much worse than that. California lost CA25. It went back to being red, but it was a massive swing. This is a preview, man. This is a warning to Democrats of what's going to happen around the country. They said this district is not unique. The districts they won from Trump were all very similar, and they know it. And if this is what you're going to see, I'd be willing to bet Republicans win back the House. We'll see how it plays out, but the lockdowns, I believe, are angering regular people. You go online, you go on social media, you see a bunch of grumpy, lazy leftists who are like, I don't want to work. It's not fair. Just have the government print money for me. That's not how things work. You can't just snap your fingers and there's food. People got to make the food. People got to do the services. They got to make the products. We're talking about, we got food shortages coming. We got meat shortages. We got grain shortages. We got mushroom shortages now. You think these people don't even realize what's to come because the hiccup in the supply line is going to take a long time for you to actually see it. And we're already starting to. 1 in 5 Wendy's doesn't even sell cheeseburgers anymore. No beef. So yeah, the economy being shut down is disrupting everything. It will get worse. And regular people, they might not care that Donald Trump is a potty mouth when they can't get a cheeseburger. California, you will be surprised. In-N-Out Burger. How about that, California? Everybody loves their In-N-Out Burger, animal style. Many of you might not know what that is, but California's got a famous burger joint called In-N-Out. They got a famous way of cooking it called animal style with cheese and sauce, and it's all good. Everybody loves it. What happens when there's no more beef? What happens when you can't get this food? Regular people might not react to politics like you or I. They might be watching, reruns of Family Guy and just not caring, being, I don't know, whatever, I'm playing video games. But I'll tell you what really will impact them. When they can't get a slice of pizza, when they can't get, because the dairy is being, disrupted, because they can't get a cheeseburger. The cheeseburger, I mean, it's serious. So I bring this up for a reason. We talk about California turning red. I do think it's absurd. I would never, look, I understand California was red like through the 80s, for a long time it was red, but it changed. Right now, according to the current demographics, it's like 66% Democrat and like 33% Republican. How would you swing that many people? I don't buy it. But man, we did see a major swing happen in the UK. So I've often talked about what really motivates people. With the Arab Spring, with revolutions, food plays a big factor. You go to your uncle, your aunt, your niece, your nephew, whoever, people in your family, and you argue politics, and they'll argue politics all day. People won't argue. Why is the cheeseburger gone? What do you mean there's no beef? It's like, hey, what are we doing today? Oh, let's get some Wendy's. We can't. Wait, what? We can't. Why not? Because of the shutdown. Well, and the shutdown. We can't. Why? Because the Democratic governor doesn't want to reopen. Whoa, 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 whoa. You're telling me that when it comes to the ballot box, I got a choice between Republican says bring the cheeseburgers back, Democrat says no cheeseburgers for anybody? What do you think the American's going to vote for? I know I'm being a bit reductive and being silly, but expand that argument to its natural conclusion. I'm not just talking about cheeseburgers. I'm talking about the disruption of the economy, taking away people's vices. The things they like, the things they enjoy are disappearing, and they're going to have an option to vote for the economy being reopened so they can get back to enjoying that double bacon cheeseburger with barbecue sauce and onion rings crunched into it with a big old side of sweet potato fries. You can't get that right now. You can. I know. I'm being a bit hyperbolic. But some stores, we're seeing meat shortages. I warned all of you. I said, like that movie Daybreakers, where it's one about where all the people are vampires. He goes to the cafe and he's like, I want more blood in my coffee. And she's like, I can't do it. And he goes nuts and he attacks her. Someone already attacked a store clerk over the meat restrictions. He wanted to buy a bunch of beef. She said, you can't. So he attacked her. And they got arrested, I guess. Look, man, people, if this guy's willing to attack a cashier at a supermarket because he wants his beef, what do you think someone's willing to do in California? Yeah, they might be Democrat their whole life. But now they're looking at the guy who says you can get all the cheeseburgers you want and no cheeseburgers for you. They're going to be like rubber stamp red, man. We'll see how it plays out. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up in a few minutes. Stick around and I will see you all shortly.